And I think we are going live now, guys. It is 9 a.m. here in Los Angeles. It is Monday, June 24th, AD 2024. And I'm live on YouTube, Rumble. We'll get to your calls, guys. Should have a fun Monday show. Let me stream live on IG. See how long I last on Instagram. It's a mess. They act like you can stream on Instagram, but then whatever. Anyway, what do I want to cover today? I was telling the listen line people that I want to talk about the one true justice, Clarence Thomas. You know how I mentioned in Hake News that they're trying to take away the rights of men accused of so-called DV, domestic violence. It's a woman propaganda. I know that there is violence happening between men and women. Oh my goodness. The propaganda is ridiculous. Thinking about this bit of a TV show that I saw, like the first episode of this TV show where there's, back in the 20s, maybe 1920 itself, this man hit the wife, and you're like, why would you hit the wife? The way that it's portrayed, like she's this innocent person. It's not the real story. It's evil. So it's a big mess, and it's ridiculous. Anyway, what else would I like to talk about? We'll see what I can get to. I caught a 2-year-old story, maybe 4 or 5-year-old story, from Common Nonsense website about the Bible, commonly misquoted verses in the Bible. I may touch on that. And I may also talk a little bit about a missed opportunity or missed solution that may be right before your eyes. I was thinking about it with the passing of Azzmador 1 week ago. Azzmador, a friend of America, a friend of you, a friend of mine. He died. Heart attack, I think. But I think he was on the run. I think he was in hiding, underground, you know? Because they had these crazy bench warrants or something like that. A felony warrant is what I heard from another podcast host whom I sometimes like to catch. And he said, in hindsight, maybe he should have turned himself in and done whatever time, 6 months or a year in jail or prison, which, even unjust or not, in hindsight, he maybe should have handled it and just faced even the unjust burying that they want to do of the whites. They just want to bury the whites. And honestly, it's better to have foresight than hindsight. So, I don't know. Did he make a mistake with that, Azzmador? And the spirit of it is to let his life serve as a lesson to you guys. Because he did that a lot in his lifetime. He made errors and took those errors and gave great advice to young men and to men themselves, older men too. So shout out to Azzmador, the late great Azzmador. And so all that and your calls, guys, if you'd like to call in. But anyway, everybody, let's just get right on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. I'm trying to back off of the mic when I shout. I'm not very good at it because I notice that it gets really loud when I get really loud. And that could be obnoxious. And Hake doesn't want to be obnoxious. But to be entertaining, sometimes you have to be a little obnoxious. So it's a mess. Anyway, I have my snake shirt on and my angry octopus turning into a... It's not a plushie. Well, it does call itself a plushie, I think. Reversible plushies. But I call it a stuffed animal because that's how I grew up. They were called stuffed animals when I was a kid. And it's not meant to be childish, although it is. From the beautiful rebel flag, the Confederate flag, to plushies, it's my anti-Semitic, which I'm pro-Semitic, okay? I'm pro the Jews and the Arabs and everybody else, the Semites. Multiple armed octopus with the long tentacles, not very long, gets its tentacles in every sector of society and power. But, and it's jokes, it's joking. We're having fun. We love everybody. But it's also an autism octopus, because that's what it really was. Greta Thunberg had her octopus, the angry octopus, on the side of her when she was posing with the Palestinian sympathizers, the people who were taking this Palestinian victimhood, you know, with this Israel-Hamas war, and a lot of Palestinians are getting caught in the crossfire because Hamas is hiding behind them, and Israel doesn't really, they're going hard. Anyway, they're like, oh, she anti-Semitic dog whistle, and so she cropped it out of her Instagram picture. Greta Thunberg, the climate activist, mentally ill Swedish former child. Now she's a young lady. We use the term loosely. So let me reiterate a little bit of this news for you guys. What's up, Xenia and Canadian David? So I read in Hake News at the end of hour 2 of the Christina Peterson show today, the Supreme Court rules on domestic violence gun control law. The far-left female-run outlet The Skim reports the so-called Supreme Court ruled 8 to 1. 8 to 1. So much for your conservative majority. To uphold a federal law violating your Second Amendment if you have a restraining order against you for so-called domestic violence. It bars people under domestic violence restraining orders from owning guns. Isn't that ridiculous? A Texas man had challenged the law, saying the High Court's 2022 decision expanding gun rights, which I don't remember what decision that was, but we'll just leave it at that. You can check it out. I'll post you the Skim newsletter in the chat. You can check the Hake News section for the Skim link, okay? In Hake News, I'll post it in my Hake News today, later. That this 2022 Supreme Court decision meant that he too could own a firearm, get a firearm, even though he had a restraining order against him for DV, domestic violence. That's when men and women fight. It usually, in their minds, it means the man is beating the woman. Sometimes it means the woman is beating the man. Yes, so-called domestic violence goes both ways. Domestic meaning happening in the house, I guess. In the majority opinion, Chief Justice Rhino John Roberts, appointed by W, I think. John Roberts is always behind some of the worst decisions. He's supposedly a Republican. He wrote the law uses this buzzword, this communist buzzword, communist anti-Second Amendment buzzword. They don't know what it really is. Common sense. Common sense. It uses common sense gun reform, common sense gun safety laws. They manipulate the language because all these different words sound all nice. They use words that sound nice, but pretty soon people realize this nice sounding word is actually something evil. It's actually something evil, like abortion rights. Abortion sounds like a nasty thing nowadays, right? I hate even saying the word. I call it abortion for short. And so they call it reproductive freedom, reproductive rights. They try to manipulate the language. They used to call them illegal aliens. Then they started calling them undocumented immigrants. And now they're calling them non-citizens, newcomers. They changed the language. So anyway, common sense gun safety. Gun safety. Ridiculous. It's, John Roberts wrote that this law, people accused of domestic violence and have a restraining order against them, is used after a judge determines an individual poses a credible threat of violence. So some judge can, on a whim, say, oh, this guy does deem a credible threat. I deem him to be a credible threat. Credible threat. So he hasn't even done anything. Justice Clarence Thomas was the sole dissenting voice, arguing the people under restraining orders have not been convicted of a crime. I call him based. So they should be allowed to own guns. I say that people who have been convicted of a crime, if they're allowed out of jail, they should own guns. My personal opinion. I could be, maybe I'm ill-advised, especially nowadays because they let anybody out of prison. But if they're not allowed to, as the late Azzmador, I mentioned him earlier, said on the phone with me in one call, if they're not to be trusted with a gun, they shouldn't be trusted free from jail or prison. They should just be in prison. In the olden days, they used to give people who served their sentence a horse, a gun, and $100 in Texas. Isn't that interesting? Something like that. I may be misstating what the history was. But Thomas is saying, this is ridiculous. They're clamping down further and further on the rights, and they're going after the margins, the people aren't very sympathetic to wife beaters, you know? But I am. Because a lot of people get accused of this stuff, and it's not even true. I remember watching the movie The Red Pill. It's a documentary. JLP interviewed the woman who made the movie. She no longer considers herself a feminist after interviewing all these men's rights activists. One men's rights activist said that the cops told his client or his somebody whom he represented or something, that if she breaks a nail on you, we're arresting you. If she's clawing at you, attacking you physically, and she breaks a nail on you, they're arresting you. So-called gun safety and so-called domestic violence groups, gun safety groups. They don't mean the NRA. They don't mean Gun Owners of America. They don't mean ordinary people who handle guns safely. They mean people who are against the Second Amendment. And so-called domestic violence groups, which usually means women who accuse men, hailed the ruling as a major win. Women in the U.S. are 21 times more likely to die from gun violence, no such thing, than women in other high-income countries, according to Giffords Law Center. Stephanie Giffords, or what? Gabby Giffords, the woman who was shot. She was shot by a guy. She was or still is maybe, a politician. She survived. Friday's decision also signals there is more space for interpretation when it comes to the High Court's initial 2022 ruling, which created confusion about gun laws. The Supreme Court isn't off for the summer yet. Many highly anticipated decisions on presidential immunity, emergency abortion care, and the January 6th mess expected in the coming days. So, what a mess, huh? What a mess. Right on to Justice Clarence Thomas. He was the sole dissenter. And I told you it's not a conservative majority. I'm not surprised that Kavanaugh's lame, because he likes beer. I like beer. I'm not really surprised that Gorsuch is lame, Neil Gorsuch. These are Trump's picks for the Supreme Court. They're not solely his. He was given this list, and the Senate had to approve them. Neil Gorsuch was kind of lame, maybe even lamer than Kavanaugh, although he looks like a little bit more of a Chad. I'm not surprised by, who's that woman? Amy Coney Barrett. Still uses her maiden name as her middle name. Amy Barrett, she cried for Black Lives Matter and George Floyd. I'm not even really surprised that Justice Alito, Samuel Alito, right? Samuel Alito gave in because he can't control his wife about her flying these radical American patriotic flags. So I'm not really surprised that Alito was lame on this. And of course, John Roberts, and of course, the Democrat females. Is there any Democrat males on the so-called Supreme Court? There's 3 Democrat females. Two by Obama, 1 by Biden. What a mess, huh? Ridiculous. Hayden in Texas is on the line here. Let me get to a call. What's up, Hayden? Thank you for calling and holding. How you doing, man?
Good. How's it going, Hake?
Going well.
Good.
Nice.
So the past couple of episodes, I've been watching your show. I haven't really been called out by name, but have been referenced as being called young and excited.
Yeah.
Particularly when that one time I asked about I asked to get in contact with Mark.
Right.
From California. What exactly did you think I meant when I asked to get in contact with Mark? Did you think something violent was going to happen, or what was going through your head when I asked you that?
Just that you were excited to connect with somebody. Of course not that something violent was going to happen. That didn't even enter my mind. But it's just you're excited about somebody whom you agree with. And you shouldn't be all excited like that.
Yeah, and in that context, that's what I meant. Because I mean, on social media and stuff, I meet so many, people that are waking up to the truth, and it
right.
It really makes me happy.
And they're not necessarily even waking up to the truth. That's part of why I want to temper your excitement, or not I can't temper your excitement. I want to encourage you to temper that excitement about people, quote unquote, waking up to the truth.
Right.
Because waking up to the truth, maybe, they realize that there's an attack on whites. Well, congratulations. A lot of people realize that, And there's a lot of fakes, and there's a lot of people who know that, but they're angry about it, and they will lead you down the wrong path, and you will have a group of people around you encouraging you down a path that isn't right or sane. You just want to keep your head down, work, and live your life, not get caught up in friendships and teaming up with people politically necessarily.
Oh yeah. So you're saying you didn't mean it with the intent, like you knew nothing like violent was going to happen, right?
No, I mean that didn't even enter my mind. I'm telling you, it's not even something that we would ever do.
Well, yeah,
if you want to come to church, you can come to church, but it shouldn't be to go and network with people and try to make something happen, make a connection happen. Let God lead your life.
Yeah, exactly right. And so when that day when I asked you that, I accepted it that it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But then after that, I'm still being called excited for some reason.
Because in general you are excited. Different people have criticized you as being all into the white thing and going down the wrong road, and that may not necessarily be the case, but it can be the case if you are excited, because you've called in and wanted to attack and criticize different black callers and stuff. And that is, that's not necessarily the right spirit to have, is because those callers are just lost. It's no big deal.
Yeah. It's mainly because the person that calls me out by name the most is John from Kentucky. And I'd be happy anytime to talk to him, anytime this week in particular. I'll set up a free time to talk to him anytime this week.
No, man, I just told you we don't do connections like that.
No, like over the phone, like on your show.
I know, but I don't even like to have people try to set that type of thing up, man. This is what I'm talking about. Like, calm down. You're trying to make something happen. You have like these plans coming into your mind that you wanna do a debate. You remind me of Joe and Mark.
Joe and Mark.
Because you know how Joe and Mark are possessed by each other? Now you're like, now you're all into, oh, this person who calls you out by name. So what, man? Don't be falling into like being called out and defending your name and proving this guy wrong and having some debate and all that stuff. That's dumb excitement. You're gonna fall into these guys who attack you are immature, and you being they're old enough not to be immature, but you're younger, and they're gonna exploit your immaturity and be all excited and get into mess.
Well, yeah.
So don't be trying to ask for that. I'm not gonna do that. Just because you asked that, I'm not gonna do it.
No, yeah. I understand, but I'm just saying that, I find it hilarious because I know what I'm saying is right, in regards to like what they say about me and stuff and my views and everything. And it's just, I just want to, because I mean,
just because you're right on the facts. This is what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can express it. You were right on the facts. I was right on the facts a lot of the time when I was posting it on Facebook, excited in my 30s. I was excited in my 30s, okay? And I was alienating friends whom I didn't need to alienate. I was posting the quote-unquote truth, but it didn't change anything. And it changed things for the worse because I lost friends I didn't need to lose. And you could say, they're fake friends, but it doesn't matter. Like, I was a fake friend too because I was just puffing up, trying to preach the quote-unquote truth about whites, about Obama, about whatever, the LGBT mess, stuff like that. And it was empty. So just...
for you, it was empty?
Yeah, in hindsight, and even at the time, I kind of knew deep down that it was just empty.
Well, I mean, if you... chances are, if you do the right thing, there are going to be consequences for it if people, leave.
Same thing if you do the wrong thing.
That's on them.
Same thing if you do the wrong thing. But I was doing the wrong thing, saying the right words at the wrong time. In the wrong place. And same thing is happening with you.
Well, see, I don't take anything back that I say about the.
Nor do I. I don't take one word back that I ever said.
Yeah, I don't whatsoever. So
I know, but that's not. You're missing my point. Your spirit has to be right. It's not just having the facts right.
Spirit meaning that I shouldn't. What do you like? Call them out by name is what you're saying?
No, not just that. I'm talking about having your ego all excited and puffed up and prideful about it, and self-righteous. Do you know? Can you tell when you're self-righteous, or can you look back and find times when you may have been right about the facts, but you were wrong? You were puffed up. You were prideful. You were angry. You were being dumb, arguing with a woman or something.
Oh, I would never argue with a woman.
But answer my question.
Not because I'm scared.
I'm just bringing up a side topic, man. You're dodging my question. You're deviating from my question because you got hung up with the arguing with a woman detail. That's just one example. Have you ever caught yourself being all excited and puffed up on your ego, telling the quote unquote truth, and it was out of order, it was out of place?
I really don't believe so.
So you've never argued with somebody?
I've argued,
and you've been wrong for arguing? Even if you were right, even if your views were right, you've never been wrong arguing? Getting into an argument and it was stupid?
Not if it's on a platform like that you're on. I wouldn't say so at all.
No, I'm asking, in your life, have you ever gotten into an argument and you were prideful? You were dumb?
I'm confused. I would say no. I really have no regret.
Oh, okay. All right. So you've been perfectly humble your whole life and appropriate.
Humble and appropriate.
Yeah.
Let's see. I would say so. Yeah. I honestly have zero regrets in my life.
Okay. I'm not talking. I didn't ask you if you had regrets. I asked you if you were ever wrong.
Oh yeah, I've been wrong before. Yeah, of course.
And I'm not talking about wrong about the facts, about the stuff that you say. I'm talking about wrong within your spirit. Wrong with your attitude, prideful.
Oh yeah, definitely my past, of course.
So you've been prideful before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what I want you to watch. Well, I mean, you definitely do what you want. It doesn't seem like you're really getting what I'm trying to say, but that's what I want.
I'm really not.
You always want to watch how you're reacting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in regards to people, either call me out by name, call me something that I know I'm not. And like for example,
why do you need to respond if these people bring up your name?
Well, number one, because what they're saying is wrong, and then
I know, but why do you need to respond?
Because they're calling me out by name, and I feel like that I need to respond to because
no, you don't have to though. Let me tell you a secret: you don't have to respond.
Well, I just feel that I guess I'm like Mark because he's
see, that's not a good thing. You don't want to be like Mark. I've told Mark this too.
Oh, I know. I've seen your show, and he says the same thing I say.
I know, because he's prideful, and you're prideful, and you're not realizing it.
I don't know.
I do know, man. I do know. Don't worry about it. I just won't let you guys stomp about with that mess, because that's not what my show is about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's your show, and what I was saying earlier. I completely understand, about the whole connection. If you don't want connections on your show, or
because that's ridiculous. That's asking for trouble.
I accept it. So,
yeah.
So this whole exciting thing is just crazy. So I accept it.
Yeah, don't be crazy.
Yeah. I'm not. Trust me.
You are crazy. Trust me. But you don't see it, and I totally get you.
Point of view. That's your point of view.
Yeah.
But I didn't want you to think that I was going to do anything bad.
No, definitely not, man. Yeah, stay out of your head, because this is another thing. You're not seeing clearly as you think you are, because you're thinking that I might be thinking that you might go violent, and that's not even close to what I'm thinking. I know that there are feds who try to get involved with different shows and get involved with different groups and try to find people who are crazy and going to do that, and try to tempt them and catch them, and then report this big thing like, oh, we foiled a white supremacist plot or something. Exactly. I know that type of thing happens, but there's also just ill-advised people trying to make all these connections, and then drama happens, and it's stupid.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
And I was not trying to do that at all. I just want to set the record straight.
It's not about what you're trying to do. It's just what happens. It's like getting involved with a girlfriend or a girl, or getting involved with anybody. Friendships turn sour.
Right.
And then it's in the and then you turn on the the people in whose context the friendship happened, like at a church, people at a church or a AA meeting, people get involved in different ways, and then like they stop going to the AA meeting, or they stop going to the church, or they stop going to this or that because of interpersonal drama,
Right.
which is stupid.
Yeah, that's the same
Keep
thing.
a distance.
That's the same, like conservative and Democrat, like longtime friends.
Yeah.
They're losing their friendships over this upcoming election. Just how crazy it's gotten
Right.
and stuff.
Yeah, and you should be.
So,
The Bible even. I don't know if are you a Christian?
what? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, the Bible says get along with everybody as far as you can, as far as it depends on you.
Right.
And so there's no reason that you shouldn't be like getting along perfectly well with everybody, even if they're white-hating dumb liberals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I completely. Yeah, I mean, I try to get along with everyone I come across with and stuff, but
Nice.
That's not always going to be the case, no matter what situation it is. That's just life.
Cool, man.
But yeah, I just wanted to call in but when you said excited, I thought you meant that I was going to do something crazy. And
No, stay out of your head.
yeah, good.
Nice to hear from you,
All right.
Hayden in Texas. I'm hopefully. I know that I didn't fully clear it up for you, but at least I cleared that much up.
Yeah.
Take care, man. Call me again.
Yeah, same to you.
All right. Bye. Nice. Daniel in Texas is on the line here. Daniel, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm well, James. How are you?
Doing well as well. Thank you.
Why shouldn't I be overexcited, James?
You shouldn't be overexcited, or you should watch yourself if you are excited, right? Realizing that you always have an inkling, maybe not always, but you often have an inkling when you're wrong, when you're doing something out of order. But when you're excited, you ignore those inklings, those little warnings from, maybe it's the Holy Spirit warning you, or your consciousness. Like I'm doing something out of order. This is out of the ordinary. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm all excited. And it's dumb. It's like getting over-involved with a woman who, before time, trying to make something happen or whatever. That is ill-advised. As the Elvis song says, wise men say only fools rush in.
Yeah.
But I can't help falling in love with her. So, yeah, be wise. You want to be wise, not excited. Does that answer it?
Pretty much. Everybody will remember it. Everybody will remember it, and you'll try to move on, and
True.
They'll bring it up. Oh, remember that time you got excited about this and that?
Yeah.
Remember 5 years ago at the Christmas party, you were getting excited?
They'll judge you forever, and they'll cut off some of your opportunities in life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's whether they're judging you rightly or wrongly, it doesn't matter. You burn bridges. You change your life in horrible ways. It's kind of like the Unite the Right rally that Azzmador participated in, and others. Some people had the foresight not to participate in that rally where the whites had the right to do it. Having the right to do it doesn't mean you should. And some people said, you know what, stay away. This is like a setup. Same thing with January 6th. A lot of people got excited, and injustice is befalling them. But it's injustice that they brought upon themselves because they know that the government is against them and not supporting them, not supporting their innocent less proven guilty type stuff. So yeah.
I know that whenever I look for advice, when something has upset me, and I look for advice from my father, he would let me go on my rant about the injustice, and then when I finally had the sensibility to ask him for advice, he would say, do you really want to know my advice?
Nice.
And I'd say yes.
Right.
And he'd say, let it go.
Great advice. And I like the fact that he asked you if you want his advice.
Yes.
And I guess I only gave that. Maybe I was wrong for giving him Hayden that advice or pushing it on him. But he asked me what I meant by excited, and so I was trying to explain myself.
Well, he came to you.
Yeah. Hake, are you blaming the people who stood up against the rigged election? Ooh, whoa! I disavow that. I didn't mean to read that. I disavow it. Sir Buddy, Sir Buggy, that was not Ig Ray. It was the most secure in history after Trump invited them to come. Yeah, I'm blaming them. I'm blaming them because they should have known better than to enter the Capitol building. They should have known better than to fall for the trap. They could have gone and stayed outside. Most of the people who stayed outside didn't get in trouble, although some of the people who did stay outside, even they got in trouble. Owen Schroyer, I believe, never went into the building, but he got in trouble anyway.
I know that overexcitement has not lent itself to many successful enterprises throughout history.
True.
And what's easy for a lot of commentators to say is that 1776 was the result of outrage over injustices by the British. But the reality is that war was a slow burn. It took a long time. George Washington had to be very methodical. It didn't look good in many instances where his men were starving and living through the winters. And it's a cool, calm head that allows for these enterprises to take hold.
Yeah.
It's not overexcitement. George Washington wasn't overexcited. He'd walk into a room with all of his accoutrements that he was awarded throughout his career as a soldier, and he didn't. His presence just commanded respect. It wasn't excitement.
Interesting point, man. Yeah, I mean, they wrote that whole Declaration of Independence to justify themselves in the eyes of the other countries around them. It wasn't just a willy-nilly thing. And that's how civilized men, including civilized white men in particular, go about things, is in an orderly way. And I don't know the rightness or wrongness of the Revolutionary War, because I'm not sure of anything anymore. But I kind of believe what you're saying. I tend to believe what you're saying. That's why it worked out, in part, and also because we had France helping us out, I heard.
Yeah. I do my best to stay away from the idea of good guys losing wars.
True.
Because things happen for a reason. And,
interesting point.
The world is an evil place, but the bottom line is you can't do anything without the practicality of its longevity. You can't really keep anything in motion without knowing full well that it's stable enough to withstand storm.
Right. Yeah. So that kind of goes to the South losing. Maybe America lost the war, but the South lost the war, the Civil War. Might makes right in a sense. They didn't have the ability to keep it going. And there's no regrets. There's no, the wrong side won. It's just, this is the reality. Now we have to deal with it. I kind of like that.
Usually, in instances where revolutions have occurred, it's occurred with a fraction of a population, but they were successful because what they were fighting was something that was not stable.
Yeah,
it was not stable, and I think hindsight is 20/20, but the United States was stable enough to withstand a civil war, and that's the bottom line. That's
interesting
the
point.
takeaway I get.
Yeah, that's true.
Because all of
even though a lot of evil did take place, it survived it.
Well, what's kind of written in a narrative that's pro-Confederate is that the good guys lost, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of the people in the Confederacy went into the employ of the federal government after the surrender.
Yeah, I heard that.
So-
Yeah, they joined them. Yeah.
Yeah.
They. I heard that Lee participated in the Reconstruction.
Yes.
And that's
And
only
so
the
did
right
he-
thing to do. You would want to join them and have an influence
Yes.
for the benefit
That
of even for the benefit of your own side. Really, truly.
Yeah. Surrender is not the end.
Yeah. Great point, man.
Just people want it to be because they don't want to imagine life without winning all the time.
Yeah. Nice, man. Good lesson.
All right.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Take care, Daniel,
Okay.
in Texas. Bye.
Bye.
Huh. You know, I'd like to talk a little bit about this thing that I brought up before. I may or may not get to the Commie Nonsense Bible this show. I'll try to. But Azzmador, he died a week ago. Heart attack, I'm told. And he was a guest on my show before he's called into my show. I've referenced him as our resident historian. I said he was an honorable man, as far as I knew, you know, a reasonable man. But he was on the run, I heard. And I think it was related to this Charlottesville thing, the Unite the Right rally from August of 2017, in which the whites had the right to protest. Antifa, Black Lives Matter, were counter-protesters, did not have a right to be counter-protesting, I don't think. At least they didn't get their permit. The police did not separate them, and a mess happened. A woman died after, I think she might have gotten hit by a car, that car that was getting hit by Antifa. The Dodge Charger, driven by James Fields, was that the guy? And he drove into the crowd who were marching in the middle of this alley or street. And Heather Heyer died. She was supporting Black Lives Matter or something like that. Well, they were trying to hold the organizers of the white rally responsible. Try to accuse, I don't know, Azzmador of incitement or something. I don't know. But they were trying to sue him and some others. And he didn't show up to court, from what I understand. And so they issued a bench warrant because he was subpoenaed, he didn't show up, something like that. Bench warrant, so he went into hiding. From what I heard, and I may be misinterpreting what went on, but bottom line, he had a felony warrant according to the White Rabbit radio guy whom I was listening to. Well, that went on for like years, I guess. And I remember mentioning this in passing to a friend of mine who said, why doesn't he just go get that taken care of? Face whatever he needs to face, whether it's just or not, you know? And then it simplifies his life. Because what the guy from White Rabbit who said this, he said, in hindsight, should he have gone to jail for 6 months, or I don't know what the thing was going to be, what the punishment or whatever was going to be, bankrupt the guy, you know, and worse, like they're trying to do to Alex Jones, like they're trying to do to Donald Trump, like they're trying to do to the whites and the Christians. Should he have done that so that he could go to the hospital and deal with whatever health issues he apparently was experiencing? What it sounded like was he was experiencing health issues, but just suffering at home, not able to go to the doctor because they were looking for him. And he ran the risk of being found, and then he had to face the potentially, most likely, unjust courts and unjust system, you know, because the people are corrupt now in the system. And the guy said, in hindsight, maybe should have done it. Maybe should have faced the injustice. And it's funny because he could have had the foresight to face it and be alive today, possibly. And I say it not to bash Azzmador, the late, great Azzmador, and to be like, oh, you should have done this. But as a lesson to you and me, maybe, there's solutions to different things that we're facing that are obvious or should be obvious to an outside observer. So you too should become an outside observer of your situation, not nose up against it. I'm going to be stubborn and be just an outlaw, or I'm going to be stubborn and try to grind this thing out and try to make it work, or whatever your situation is. There are solutions that you like, oh, I could do this. And it's such a relief. I remember getting into some deal as a middleman with a car between two friends. And I'm like, why am I being the middleman in this car situation? And I didn't even question why I was doing it, really. I talked to a friend of mine. It's like, why are you in the middle of it? You're never supposed to be in the middle of it. And I didn't even mean to be in the middle of it, but my one friend did this deal because it was me. And so he stuck me into the middle of it. And I was too dumb to say, oh, no. You guys deal with it. I'm not going to be involved. Just get out of it. Wash your hands of it. I'm pulling out of this deal. I'm pulling out of it. There are solutions that you just don't see because of oftentimes it's stubbornness or a false sense of obligation or whatever. And like I said at the beginning of the show, Azzmador used stuff in his life, errors that he made in his life, in his activism for whites, for Americans, for these monuments and different things. A lot of this IRL, in real life stuff, excitement and protesting and making a scene and getting more followers is counterproductive. Counterproductive to your own life, to your own cause. You're turning people off potentially, and you're only getting yourself in trouble. People say, oh, riots work because look at Black Lives Matter. No, they don't. Riots and protests only work when the government is on your side already. They're already going to be sympathetic to your cause, the mainstream media and the government, and they're only sympathetic to climate activism, abortion, anti-man, pro-woman stuff, anti-white, pro-POC stuff, anti-Christian, pro-this or that stuff. Never is the government really for what's right that I can think of. Even when it says is for stuff that's somewhat right, it's for the wrong reason. You know, all these women, pro-life women. Oh, it's women's victimhood. Or porn, schmorn. Oh, these women are victims. It's victim stuff. Fentanyl stuff. Victimhood. So, you may be involved in something that's not necessary. And Azzmador oftentimes warned you guys to be wise, stay away from anger, never involved with violence. So, right on. Jaime in Minnesota is on the line here. Jaime, thank you for calling and holding there, man. What is up?
Hey, how's it going, Hake?
Going well. How about you?
Pretty well. It's a nice day out here.
Right on. In Minnesota, huh?
In Minnesota. Warm and humid and a little windy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to call and talk to you about that judge, the black judge that was whooping that cop.
Okay, so in the Christina Peterson show, I along with JLP presented this story, or I reacted to this story in which clips in which this black female Fulton County probate judge, Christina Peterson, normal spelling of Christina, got arrested because she hit a cop on the head, allegedly, and cussed at him and wouldn't give her name. And now her friends say, oh, she was defending a woman who got attacked by a man. And I don't even think that that's the whole story. I bet this woman was kind of provoking the man, you know, because usually the two people who are fighting, neither of them is quite innocent. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Did you say what state that was in?
Georgia, in Atlanta,
Georgia?
near Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah.
Different states have different laws on cop body cams.
Okay.
So Georgia might not. We might not get to see exactly what happened. You know.
Oh, well,
on
I mean, they
YouTube.
released some body cam footage. It looked like body cam footage of the arrest. I saw him slapping the cuffs on him.
Okay. In different states like Wisconsin and Florida, they release the whole thing if you give a request.
Oh yeah, yeah. Florida, they do release a lot. That's why you get the weirdest stories out of Florida. I heard because well, Florida is also has a wide range of people, from old folks to young folks and foreigners. And but Florida has the most open books, and so you find out the details of these crazy crimes and crazy situations that the people get into. Interesting.
That's right. And in other states, you have to be the defendant to request a copy.
Oh wow! Okay.
And then only the defendant can, get it. So if she is the defendant and she released it, and it's not a state where anybody can ask for it,
yeah,
they might cut it up, just to show the parts where she's the victim.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
So that's a possibility too.
Well, we've already seen footage of we've already seen footage of her acting all defiant and sassy. I'm not gonna give you my name. I don't have to give you ID. Just take me where you're gonna go.
Yeah, and that's against the law. If an officer asks for your identification, you have to give it to him.
Really?
That's the law.
Really?
At least over here.
In any given situation, or when there's like a crime
I don't know.
suspected? Because so a cop could just stop you and ask you for your ID?
Well, I think you're right. They have to have something.
Probable cause or whatever.
Stop. There has to be a stop.
Yeah.
And they had a stop on her, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, she was in a club and he attacked her. I mean, she attacked him.
If they're conducting an investigation and they're a part of their investigation, she could have been impeding their investigation, which is against the law.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
So, yeah, I hope they throw the book at her.
I doubt it.
This is evidence of black excellence.
Indeed, it is. It's wild.
And it's a sight to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a lot of women, lawyers, even white ones,
yeah,
they get into this alcohol stuff, and they're out partying. And there's other videos of this too. So it's not new. It's the first judge I've seen, but a lot of different lawyers. And
yeah, true.
They get drunk and then they act a fool.
Yep.
And it's mostly women. I don't see a whole lot of professional men doing it.
That's true. I've even seen this one white woman, I think we covered it on the JLP show, get herself in trouble, like drunk driving or being crazy or something.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And it's not just the alcohol.
Prosecutor.
They're taking the Xanax and the other kind of, antidepressant pills that interact with alcohol.
Yeah.
And they drive loopy. Well, I don't know if she was driving, but they get loopy.
Yeah.
And then they cause a problem.
That's crazy, man.
And then they want to play victim or
right.
play lady.
Yeah.
You got to treat me like a lady. No.
You got to act like a lady.
Yeah. So, with that, I think one way or the other, these kind of things, they kind of provoke people. They're like, it's disgusting to see.
Right.
Like, for the whites, it's going to be like, oh, man, we're actually letting that happen. Even the blacks too, they're going to be like, ah, man, how could you do that? You're disgracing us.
Right. It is.
You know what? Maybe this was a bad idea.
It's outrage stuff, and outrage is not good. It's like that excitement that I was talking about earlier. People, it's no good because people are sitting around judging this woman or these women.
Yep.
And sitting around judging these women is no good either. We have to be sane in our stuff, because emotions are part of what's the problem, and outrage is not going to solve it.
No, and you can see that the kryptonite for the woman is accountability.
Yeah,
they cannot take accountability, black or white. If
right.
they got that feminist attitude, they can't take accountability.
Indeed.
They can't say, hey, I was wrong, or anything. And she fought that cop, like screaming and hooting and hollering and, doing everything in the book.
Poor lady.
Not to do.
Not poor lady. Poor cop. Anyway, interesting call, man. Appreciate that.
Oh, I also watched that video that Krishan the Don produced.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I had Krishan the Don on the Hake Report, and he made this video a year ago, right in the beginning of July, about the gay agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's super interesting.
Yeah. Shout out to Krishan.
I watched it with my wife, and she said it made her skin crawl.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, it's not something that's pleasant for anybody to really to know about. But the heart is evil. And we're talking about the history of the LGBTIQ movement in America, and how Krishan says that a lot of it was targeting children and dealing with children. And wolves in sheep's clothing. That's the female effeminate spirit. Pretty sick stuff.
And, he presented it in such a way that it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
You have a good day.
Thank you, man. That was on Misfit Nation, that channel. Thanks again.
Mm-hmm. Bye.
Bye. Joe in Phoenix, Arizona's on the line here. Joe in Phoenix, thank you for calling and holding so long. How are you doing?
Good. Let me take you off speaker there. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Good morning to you.
Morning to you.
Alrighty. So I think last week someone had called in, and I think they were from Arizona, actually, and they were wanted to ask me why Trump or why Biden hadn't repealed Trump's tax cuts.
Right.
And number one, clearly they believe you when you say that I'm a liberal and I'm a Democrat.
I never called you a Democrat.
I think you have.
I've called you a commie, but I know that you're
you'd certainly call it that.
Yeah, I know that you're a black Republican, a black conservative.
That's right.
Right.
I am. So I can't.
We've
really
known too
speak
many
as to
black
why.
conservatives to fall for that being like a good thing, because so many black conservatives still hate whites. But go ahead.
I don't hate white people. That's just nonsense. But anyway, Blue, be quiet.
Nice. Thank you.
So I'm not a Democrat or liberal, so I can't speak for what Biden does or does not do. But what I can say is that Trump's tax cuts, if you look at what he passed, the corporate tax cuts are indeed permanent. The individual tax cuts expire at the end of 2025. And Biden is already on record saying that if when he's reelected, he will let those tax cuts expire. So he doesn't have to do anything about it. He'll just let the individual tax cuts expire at the end of next year.
Terrible. He wants, yeah, because Democrats love raising taxes and spending out of control, and many Republicans have too. W. Bush, Trump had to spend a lot to rebuild the military, I hear. But I think that he was going to start to get stuff under control. I haven't really paid much attention to this tax mess at all, so I can't really comment on it. But he was talking about
those are my only comments.
what's that?
Those are my only comments about that. Because again, I'm not a Democrat or a liberal. I can't tell what Biden does or why. So.
Well, liberals don't even know. I don't think.
But it brings up an interesting point with the corporate versus the individual. Do you know, according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, James, do you know how many folks retire dependent on family, charity, or the government?
How many people who are retired, according to HHS, are dependent on family, charity, or the government?
Or the government.
As in they don't have retirement savings or income coming in. I don't know what percentage.
They don't have enough.
What percentage do you say is?
Not me. Look it up for yourself. HHS
I'm not going to look it up.
95.7% of Americans retire dependent on family, charity, or the government.
By the government, do they mean Social Security?
Probably, yes.
Because that should not be the government, because Social Security was supposed to be our money, right? That we've been putting in.
Well, but it's managed by the government.
I know, unfortunately. Mismanaged,
exactly.
really. Managed is like yeah. Wow, 95%. And I bet you that's kind of growing. And that's what I think, that's what I suspect that FDR wanted when he made Social Security. If I'm not mistaken, it was FDR who made it. And that was communist. And they wanted people to be dependent on the government. They like people being desperate so they can swoop in and pretend like they're saving the people, when really they're the ones who are the wolves in sheep's clothing, causing the problems and making it even more complicated.
Yeah, we're actually agreeing too much today, but it's actually deeper than that, James.
Okay.
Because the biggest expense over any individual's life is taxes. It's not the housing, it's not education, it's taxes.
Wow. Not every single individual, but on the average? Is that what you're saying?
On average, yes.
So according to Joe from Phoenix, the biggest expense of a person who's making money, obviously, who pays taxes.
Over the course of their life, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Wow.
Because even as a highly paid employee, you have the least amount of protection from taxes. Which is why the corporate tax cuts are so important, and they're permanent. So
nice.
People being wage slaves their whole lives, that's the least efficient route to gain wealth. So again, it comes back to the haves versus the have-nots, James, and understanding that the system is stacked against you. You know, you worry. You shouldn't say you worry, but you talk a lot about the attack on the lights.
Right.
It's really the attack on the have-nots and keeping them as have-nots, because people don't understand what's really happening. They have no clue.
Yeah, I mean, that's partly why JLP encourages people to start businesses, work, number one, start businesses, invest in like land, buy a home if you can, and do stuff that
home is good.
Yeah, do stuff that so that you are, and also treat your job like it is your business, so that you don't just abuse the basically stealing from your boss by not doing a good job, because you're not doing yourself or your business or the business any favors, and the business is going to go under if every employee is like you, being a bum, you, the general you, who is just coasting at work.
All right. Well, we're agreeing too much, so now let's argue. I know you've been talking very flowery about Azzmador. It's a very good thing that he's dead now. One less neo-Nazi in the world.
That's crazy.
Leviticus 26:7, and we can only hope that your co-host Himmler goes the same way very, very soon.
Wow. Why are you so vicious? Leviticus, what does Leviticus say?
26:7.
Do you wish his family well, and may he rest in peace? Do you agree with me on that?
I agree with Leviticus 26:7.
What's that?
Those people wanted me dead, so it's good that they are dead.
I don't know if they wanted you dead. Where do you get that they want you dead?
to agree, but in the case of Himmler, he did say, I know solution A.
Right, but that doesn't necessarily mean death. He wasn't talking about mass murder. I asked him directly, and he said, no, he did not mean mass murder.
Only for the sake of your channel. He meant that. He meant exactly that.
I don't think so, man. I know that, I really don't think so. I think that
that's
it was...
What it is. We're not going to agree, but that's what it is. And it's a good thing Azzmador is dead, and it's a good thing
okay, so how about
we'll,
but you because you're wishing ill on Azzmador and lumping in my other caller with it. That doesn't seem fair. That seems ham-fisted. They're two different, completely different individuals.
You've said many times there's no fairness on the Hake report.
I know, but you're supposed to be a fair-minded man yourself, right? Do you consider yourself a fair-minded man?
In most parts, yes. In this case, Leviticus 26:7, again, they are the enemy, and they will be slain by the sword. In this case, the sword is the government and legal action that will take them down. That's what I mean.
That's crazy. You sound like a black Hebrew Israelite with this. I'm not even. You remind me of that other so-called Christian whom I call he's a graduate. He graduated from the Hake report. He's no longer welcome because he's a graduate. It would be kind of like a violation for him to come back. But he was like gleeful that Azzmador died. These are your fellow Christian men who like.
No, we disagree there.
That's crazy.
He was a neo-Nazi by definition.
What was the citation? Leviticus
26:7.
26:7. I just like to have these things written down. What a you're so evil too. You're like, like this is some peaceful, loving thing. That's terrible. That's everything written down in the Bible doesn't necessarily apply to the right situation, man. What the heck?
No, it does for sure in this situation. It's good that he's
crazy.
dead, and it's good that he's dead and rotting in HE double hockey sticks.
You don't know that, man. That's crazy.
And Himmler will follow suit, hopefully very soon. Anyway,
shame on you, man. Shame on you. You got to check yourself. I wonder what your pastor friend is going to think of your statements here.
Yeah, I'll have to talk to him about that.
Yeah, because you're not even supposed to rejoice. Doesn't the Bible say not to rejoice in the downfall of other people, in the suffering of other people?
It also says Leviticus.
But does it say that?
I believe it says something along those lines.
Yeah. So, are you sure you're not being this nasty, gleeful? You heard me You heard me rightly warning HADEN not to be excited. It sounds like you're excited.
Not excited, just being biblical this morning. But I was surprised to hear you give HADEN that advice. Surprisingly decent of you.
Yeah, because you live in your imagination. And when I say you live in your imagination, you hear something that I say and assume it to mean something that I'm not meaning. And same thing with HADEN. He heard me say he's excited, and he feared, and he literally entertained the thought that I thought that he would turn violent. And that wasn't even remotely what I was thinking. So you think that Azzmador would wish you dead, and so you're wishing him dead. What the heck? That sounds too personal. That doesn't sound Christian.
Neo-Nazis are very clear on their views.
I don't know how you can call him that. I think he calls himself an American nationalist. He used to joke around about the H guy, but he was basically an American nationalist. It doesn't seem fair that you would call him neo-Nazi. I mean, I call you a commie, but that's because you don't really realize that you're a commie. But I wouldn't be like, oh, commies belong in HE double toothpicks. I mean, commies are already in HE double toothpicks. You're clearly, I think you're pretty clearly in HE double toothpicks right now, rejoicing in the passing of our Christian brother, our resident historian, in his human frailty.
Neo-Nazis are not Christians. They're evil, and they're slime, and they're human trash bags, and he's rotting away in HE-double hockey sticks right now.
You're crazy, man. This funny. Guys, those of you who are friends of Azzmador, don't overreact to this evil person. Because that's even crazier. It seems like you're trying to provoke something, almost.
You do any search, and the first thing comes up with his name is neo-Nazi.
I know, but that's because of the SPLC or something. It's dumb. Everybody, Google is fake news somewhat. Just kidding, Google. You're right about the 2020 election, and you're right about the China virus and the vax, I guess. Although you're at your risk. You search up as a neo-Nazi comes up. That doesn't mean anything. But anyway, Joe in Phoenix, that was very dark. I'm a little bit surprised, but not really.
No, the world is a better place with him not in it, and hopefully him will follow through very, very soon.
You've said that like 4 times, man. They shouldn't be saying that. No. I got to run, man. Nice talking with you.
Have a good day. Bye.
You too. Mark is on the line, but I don't want to get to him at this point because that was too explosive. Mark, I'm going to give you a minute to cool down. Maybe you don't need any minutes to cool down, but do cool down if you are heated over that evil talk, okay? So cool down, cool it, Mark. Don't even respond to that, okay? In the meantime, let me get to Rika FREDERICK in Los Angeles. I call him Rika because it's just a nickname, but his real name is Frederick from Los Angeles. What's up, man?
That's right. Good morning, Hake. How's it going?
Going well. How about you?
I'm doing all right. I got a question, right?
You're on speakerphone, man.
Hold on.
The heck? What the heck? Don't say heck, kids. Hey.
Okay, how's this?
Much better.
All right. Listen, I remember when Azzmador used to call in and talk about the state of the black.
Yeah. Oh, he did, huh? Did he?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. But
I remember him talking about, he gave a great lesson. He had a great call that I put out as a segment.
But he was on the run, though, Hake?
On, just a minute. He had a great call about segregation and white flight, and that was a great call. I encourage people to check that out. Yeah, apparently, from what I understand, he was on the run, but I don't know if that's...
He's blacker than black, man. Anybody on the run ain't got nothing to say about black people.
That's not necessarily the case, because...
Yeah, that's definitely the case.
Yeah,
in America, either you pay for your crimes or you go on the run like a coward.
What if you have to pay for stuff that's non-crimes?
You let the judge figure it out and hire a lawyer. You don't talk about the state of black people while you can't even live in America and follow the rules.
This is America. Of course you can do that. Part of being America has America has a rich history.
I know you're going to be slippery.
Well, let me be slippery, okay?
Okay.
America has a rich history, which I disavow, of outlaws. Okay, so Azzmador...
outlaws?
Yeah, he was kind of I disavow it just for the sake of my channel and also for the sake of decency.
It, though.
Did you... I'm somewhat supporting it, but
how can you disavow
did you hear me?
Support at the same time?
Because for the sake of my channel, we are conflicted human beings. It's not just completely snaky. You heard my segment on Azzmador and that he probably should have turned himself in and faced the injustice.
But the whole time he was calling, he never said he was on the run, Hake.
Why should he?
Because he's sitting here giving advice as a criminal. Anyway,
there was no evidence that he was a criminal other than that he had a felony warrant.
If you're on the run, you're a criminal.
That doesn't make sense. Okay, so you're just assuming that so all the blacks are guilty too? Who run?
If they're on the run,
that's silly.
Are they on the run? Are they have a warrant out for their arrest? That's a
just
criminal.
Because you have a warrant doesn't mean you're a criminal. That's kind of like do you support taking away the Second Amendment of people accused?
Show up for court. That means you didn't show up for court.
Do you support taking away the Second Amendment of people accused of domestic violence?
Taking away the Second Amendment to have guns?
Let's say somebody accuses you, God forbid, some woman accuses you of of domestic violence and
Never,
gets a
never happened,
I know,
never.
but let's say in the future, let's say somebody accuses
Right.
you or somebody you know, a man, of domestic violence and gets a restraining order against this man. Should that man get his Second Amendment taken away?
No.
I agree with you, and you agree with based Clarence Thomas. You're not a commie after all.
I just like my guns. I'm a military man. Anyway, why
Okay.
did the Pope say there was no hell? I was going to ask you, did you think Azzmador went to hell? And the Pope came out last week and said, hell is a mindset. There is no hell.
I think that I have no idea which way
The
Azzmador
Jews are
went.
calling y'all, the
I'm
Jews
not-
are calling y'all idolizers, saying that y'all idol worship. And the Roman Catholics are now telling y'all there's no hell. It's like everybody.
I don't think that that's
turning
accurate.
against Christians.
It doesn't sound like something that the Catholics really would believe, that there is no HE double
Okay,
toothpicks.
look it up. I got the article.
Well, I know we've heard about you in articles lately. I heard that Nick, the American anchor baby, on Friday. I didn't get to catch his whole show, but I heard he embarrassed you about
No, he didn't
articles.
embarrass me. He
He
embarrassed
just
himself.
completely debunked your mess about the
No, he
Jamaicans
proved- he
going to
proved me
Japan.
Right. No, he proved me right and tried to act like he embarrassed me. That's his pride messing with him. That's okay. But we all know what it is. We all read it ourselves. Cash handouts to Japanese women for having babies. That's all it was about. Anyway, but that thing about hell is a big eye-opener from an American pope to be over in Europe, which is not a continent. They're about to take Europe off the continent list because it's a peninsula. A white man added Europe as a continent, and it's not a continent. Ain't that crazy? The white man's running amok. All right, Hank, you have a great day. I ain't want
What
that.
a mess.
But look up that Pope stuff.
Oh, okay. I may come across it. Thank you for the tip. Take care.
All right, not a problem.
Bye. I got to get to Mark in Los Angeles. Hopefully he's cooled down. If he was heated, he may not have been heated. What's up, Mark in Los Angeles?
How you doing? I'm okay. Now,
Nice.
I mean, I would expect to hear that kind of nonsense from a snake.
Yeah.
But that's the first time I've ever heard the devil actually read from the Bible. I mean, Satan.
Oh no,
reads
he's
from the
cited it
Bible.
before. He's cited Romans something.
Yeah.
About wishing your enemies well and stuff like that.
Okay, so did he wish Azzmador well?
Yeah, didn't sound like it.
He's a fraud and a hypocrite. Why you give him so much time and you sit there like you're a little boy and he's educating you? I would have hung up on it. He wouldn't even got on if I was in charge.
I
But
know.
anyway, I'll get to my point. He's a fraud, a phony. He's not a conservative. He's a commie, just like you say. He disguises himself as all those things.
Okay, get to
so
your
that
point
you'll
though.
accept them.
We got to
Pardon
keep it
me?
moving. Go ahead. Get to your.
Yeah, I wanted
thing.
to say that, first of all, HADEN is my favorite person. God bless him. I didn't
Nice.
know that much about Azzmador. I don't remember really hearing too much about him. But if he was in Charlottesville and marching with the whites, he's got my full support and full blessings. Also, before I get to my point, I'll make it
Do you
quick.
agree with? Did you hear my statement about some people had the foresight not to show up to that because those who showed up to it, the leadership people, they got in trouble. They got in
Yeah,
trouble,
because
and
we
it
got
wasn't
crooked
worth it. I don't
government.
think that it was worth it.
We have a white-hating government.
I know,
Had I been
and we knew
able
that.
to-
But we knew that going into it. We've known that
Yeah,
for
but
60
we can't hide
years.
under the bed and pretend like this isn't going on.
I know.
Had
That's
I
why
had
you.
the-
That's why you should hide under the bed sometimes,
I would've
knowing that it's
gone
going on.
If I had the opportunity in 2017, I would have been there.
Wait,
God
but-
knows
yeah, but
I
you-
would have been there.
I know, but look at. Are you aware of the persecution that's happening to this day to some of the whites who were there?
Oh, sure. Just like the J6ers.
You're right.
We got Satan
And
in our government.
so, can you acknowledge that some of that stuff is ill-advised?
So again, are we to not protest? Are we going
Right.
to listen to a white-hating government?
I think you've
Which is what
fallen.
we have.
I think that you've fallen for the communist propaganda that protest does anything good.
Well, we had a permit to be there.
I know we
That
did.
makes it
No,
all
I know we
legal.
did. I know we had the right to, but it doesn't make it right or wise It's not that they
Well,
were
with
even
that
wrong for
attitude-
doing it. It was
Okay.
unwise. They got themselves in trouble because the government
Right.
is against them. And so it was just a propaganda win against the whites because they got that guy, that woman killed, and all that stuff. So it was just only evil came from it that I know of.
Well, I supported it.
I
wasn't
supported
there.
it too. I mean, I like the beautiful Confederate monuments, and they were protesting the tearing down of that. I know
Well,
that there
one
were just
thing-
normal American-loving people that were there.
The one positive that came out of it was that it showed just how evil the Black Lives Matter movement and their supporters really are.
You know
They're
what
demons.
else? You know what else that was good? It showed that Trump is more honest than the media. He was the only man to talk about that it was the leftists, and there was some independent media, leftists attacking the alt-left, he called them, attacking the so-called alt-right. And he
I just
said
call them
violence on
white
both
angels.
sides. Did
'Cause
you
that's
like
what they are,
how
they're white angels.
did you like how Trump handled that situation?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He did a good job.
Yeah.
Also, I want to get to this point, but before I do, if I could just give a shout out to Terry, the strange one, the very, very strange one in the comments.
I don't know,
Her
man. No,
voice-
don't do these shout outs anymore.
Oh, well, this is a positive thing. She's given me really a lot of motivation in what she writes in the peanut gallery section.
But
Her
you shouldn't be
words
motivated so
motivate me
much
to
by
call
people.
every day. Pardon me?
I encourage you not to be so motivated by people. Because she's
Oh,
a
no, that's a
troll.
good thing.
She's just trolling you.
Well, and believe me, her words motivate me to call every day.
I don't
just to
even
get
know
the
what
whole-
she's typing. Can you say one thing that she said? Because I and most of the podcast audience who don't watch the live chat don't know what type of person this is or what she says. What did she say?
Well, she's a former communist.
Right.
She tells me to shut up. I love it. She calls me vile. I love it. Coming from a thing like that gives me motivation.
But this is your fellow
But
Christian woman or man.
Autonomy? She's about as Christian as that demon that you had on the phone.
Former communist.
Couple calls back. Pardon?
Former communist. This is not like it's not like she's Van Jones who calls himself a former communist. This is a woman who's now a Christian.
Well, she's got a very low IQ, so we'll just
I know,
leave it
but
at that.
that's not a reason to be just motivated by.
No, I gave her a shout out. What more can I do?
But you're motivated by her, and you're like.
No, it's
you're
a shout
clearly-
out. I won't do it
Oh,
again.
yeah, thank
know.
you. Okay.
Okay, now here's the point. Here's the reason, really, for the call. I cut through all the BS with that clown from Phoenix and his evil, and now I had to shout out to the other evil one. So here's the thing that I want to get through to your audience and you. Currently, there is a genocidal war against white women and children. Just in the last 10 days, I can't even name all the names of all the white girls underage that were raped and murdered. One was thrown in a creek. Then if you go back far enough, less than 10 years, Kate Steinle.
Right.
And all these new Kate Steinles are coming. There's a war on whites.
I know.
It's a slow motion genocide. You may not like that word.
Right.
But
I
that's
feel
what
like
it
it's
is.
a liberal word.
Yeah, but it's a slow motion genocide against our people. And then you got that clown.
I think I disavow
who-
that just because I feel like that's going to get a Wikipedia tag slapped on my video on YouTube, and they'll make it shadow banned or something like that unnecessarily. But I get what you're saying. I know what you're saying, man, and that's why I encourage you to be more understanding and kind to your fellow Irishmen, like Terry. She's an Irishman woman, and there's been a big propaganda campaign that's targeted younger people like my age and younger, so they're not used to men talking about race as frankly as you do. So have some patience and understanding.
You have to be very weak to be offended by anything I say about race. Now, I'm not trying to get your show in trouble. Honestly, I'm not. But that creep from Arizona is the one that's sending strikes in on you. He's your threat, not me.
No. I'm just saying anybody who's anybody is subject to propaganda, and so have some understanding for the propagandized, and don't be looking down on them.
What I can't understand is the same person that pretends to be a conservative Christian, didn't he just criticize Azzmador, the person who died? Didn't he tell him to burn in HELL? Is that a Christian?
Yeah, I mean, one person being unchristian doesn't justify us being unchristian.
Sure, no, I agree. My point is, he's no more a Christian than he is a conservative. He's an evil man.
Well, in this case, I was talking about Terry being a Christian, and you're like,
well, she was an admitted communist. An admitted communist.
Well, I got to go, man. It's nice talking with you, man.
God bless you.
Yeah, you too. Take care. A first-time caller out of Florida, Freddie. What's up, Freddie? Thank you for calling. How you doing?
Hi, hey, Hake. I'm doing good, man. How you doing today, dude?
Doing well, thank you.
Man, I
Is it
love your
FREDDY?
It's FREDY. Only one D.
Oh wow,
save
nice.
Save the other D for.
Gotcha. Don't even. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But
cool.
I watch your show and I watch Jesse, and I really like what you say. That last caller is calling in. He had sort of an interesting perspective. He said there was a war on white women and children.
Yeah.
That's kind of an interesting. He didn't really have a lot of examples of it, but I know
I
there
sort of
are
cut him
some.
off. I derailed him a bit, but
he didn't really have it. He just had the one example, but sometimes it's hard to get the examples because the mainstream and everything. But I just think we gotta fight, Hake. We gotta get out there and fight, and we gotta.
What does that mean, fight? What do you mean by fight?
It's time to be fighters and to stand up for ourselves and show that we are not weak little men. We are conservatives and we are strong, and we will go to wherever we need to.
But fighting, Freddie from Florida is I don't know what you mean by fighting. I think it's better to give up the fight.
I mean,
because fighting
I'll be honest with you. I think they want us to be scared. They see us and they think that we're weak. But I'm here to say
I got to run, Freddie. It's nice
talking.
talking with you. William in California. I'm trying to get through all of the calls here. William in California, thank you for calling, man. What's up?
All right. How you doing, James? How
doing fine. Nice.
Good. I think you got to be careful. I mean, wishing bad on the dead and everything. I've never gotten into that. If somebody dies, they die. You just leave it at that.
Right.
And there is a such thing. I have done that. That's not. I'm not close to being perfect. I have done that many times. And then Father looked at me one time and told me, "Do you want to be dead right or imperfect living?"
I'd rather be alive for sure.
You get what I'm saying, man?
Yeah.
And it's like all of that energy is exhausting.
True. And it's unnecessary. It's kind of like what I was talking about with Azzmador and different situations that we human beings get ourselves involved in that we don't have to be in.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even like talking about whatever the hell he was, excuse my language, running from.
Yeah.
That's not my baby. I mean,
and I wasn't in his situation, so I'm not, it's not even for me to say definitively, but
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But it's just like a lesson. Hey, there's another way that you may not be open eyes to.
Right. And the judge that got into it with the police, it's kind of weird. Her mugshot looks a little bit different than her selfie with the black eye.
That's in hour 2. Yeah, it does look a little bit different. I can kind of see it. They're both.
You see what I mean?
They're both. I know you don't like it when I say this, but they're both sort of mildly attractive. Young ladies. No. You see it in the hour 2 JLP headlines, pictures, tweets.
Skip one.
I think. No, I'm not. It's not that I would go after a gal like her. I'm just saying. She's not like. There are people who they're hard to look at because they're so ugly. But this one is not. Anyway.
I get it.
She has some youth.
Hey, I'm only messing with you. It's all good. It ain't that. It's not that crucial. But I seen the whole video, and she was acting really crazy.
Right.
And the next thing you know, the hair hat was on the ground, and then they showed her in the car, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I had to go back. Well, wait a minute. Where's her hair? What happened to her hair? And then I had to go back and look. It was on the ground, so she looks like she was fighting.
I think the mugshot looks better than her done-up face, to be honest.
Yeah.
Hassan agrees with me.
They got this thing, you know, where
I like the natural look.
Yeah, the natural look is much better because they got this piece that they like to tap on their head, and because it's itching, the glue is itching, and what happens is they got this little piece of hair. It looks like a caterpillar. Oh no, it looks like a seahorse, and they put it, you know, when their forehead.
Oh yeah, that's cool. I like that thing.
Yuck! And then.
Oh no, it looks awesome, man.
It's like fake baby hair. It's like
right. It's fake? You think so? I think it's. It looks so good when it's like kind of plastered to the. It's so stylish. Black people, man. That's funny, man. I'm not exactly trolling though. I've seen it on these gals.
Use that when their forehead is because you know black girls have a problem with their forehead. It looks like an aircraft carrier deck.
Well, they pull their hair so tight. Yeah, it's not good for them.
And like all their life, they pull it back so tight and everything. You know? But it's kind of strange. Her mugshot and her personal shot looks. It's kind of suspect. And she is in Georgia.
Well, that's when you have a lot of makeup. You have a lot of makeup and do too much with your hair. I mean, a lot of times women do too much. Yeah,
too much is, kind of yucky.
Yeah.
You like the natural look, right?
For sure. Just be normal. It's like somebody who's done plastic surgery or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much better just being natural. Or, you know, just
you make it too
natural
obvious
but healthy.
Too much.
Do stuff to be healthy. Get some sunshine. Drink enough water, but not too much. Eat well. Get your exercise, and then just accept it. Like my grandma had a saggy face. It just sagged, but I never. Sometimes I would look closely at it, but it was just fine. Whereas like Biden, his eyes are kind of high, or Pelosi.
Or like Fonnie Lewis, like Fonnie Willis. Look at her eyebrows, like going all the way up to her hairline.
I haven't noticed.
It's kind of crazy how you said, like you just said, too much gets a little weird.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It's the spirit inside you also helps you be better.
Right. And I think they got one or two of the shooters at the Juneteenth. In Round Rock.
Oh, really? Good.
I think they got somebody on that one. And did you show our audience the graduation in Los Angeles? I've never heard of probation graduation with cap and gown. I thought you just do like a normal criminal and go to juvenile and then go to prison from there and graduate to real criminals behavior. I've never heard of a graduation for a probationary. But did you get it?
I had not even heard about that. No.
You haven't heard of? I mean, they tore that place up down in Los Angeles, the Disney Convention Center, or whatever they call it.
I might have heard of something about that.
Yeah, shots fired and everything. But back to the Round Rock thing, they got two shooters. They got two of them. I don't know if it's just two, but they got two of some. So I got a couple of the suspects.
All right.
And then you got one in Oakland too. But they spent the whole week last week trying to keep you from talking about Juneteenth, but. I hope the blacks realize that June needs to be over because you're just losing people left and right.
Nice. Yeah. True.
Too bad.
We wish them well.
We do wish them well, and Nick did crush Freddie. He spent
good.
Like
that's the anchor, baby.
Minutes. Well, I kind of was trying to understand what Freddie was talking about, and it didn't make any sense. It's like, okay, so this is a waste of time to keep people from talking about Juneteenth. That's what this is. And it was, he did, Nick got him good.
Nice.
He got him good. Shout out to Nick.
Well, it's good.
You guys have a good day.
Thank you, William in California. Take care.
All right, take care.
All right. By the way, do catch American Anchor Baby. He's going to be live at noon today, I do believe. And before that, we have Joel Friday TV. Joel Friday here. And what is coming up? I have him on the redirect. Alpha male culture is a mess. That's Joel Friday TV on YouTube and IG. Hey, I haven't heard from this man in quite some time. Bobby in Texas, how are you doing, man? Good to hear from you.
Well, my friend.
Hey,
How are you?
Doing well, too. Man, it feels like it's been a year, maybe.
It has been some time, yeah.
Yeah. Good to hear from you.
I got banned from the chat. I was kind of.
Oh, you did?
upset.
If anybody who gets banned from the chat, send me an email. I'm really bad at emails, or a DM on Twitter or something, and I can unban you, especially if you get like unjustly banned, or if you just want another chance. For the most part, we'll bring you back into the fold. I don't know why that would have happened, but anyway, glad to hear from you.
Yeah,
send me an email with your account URL or whatever.
Okay, I will.
Yeah.
I wanted to offer my condolences to Azzmador.
Yeah.
I was never she was never my favorite. He always was very critical of me.
Oh yeah, that's right. Bad takes Bobby.
Agreed, but,
they called him Bad
yeah.
Takes Bobby. I don't know that Azzmador said that, but other people, Brandon M. and others.
We were just, I don't know, we didn't quite see eye to eye.
Right.
I wasn't near as critical as he was. But
That's true. Yeah, a lot of times.
I'm disappointed in Joe. Hear him kind of talk like that kind of gives me a bad taste in my mouth for him. I never really liked him before, but I kind of thought he was better than that.
Yeah, Joe from Phoenix. I think that he hated Azzmador. It sounds like it.
Yeah,
something to watch
like
yourself, Joe. Don't hate the man, even if he himself was evil. That's no reason to hate him. Everybody's evil. There's no reason to hate people. Right
so
on.
What are we going to do with San Francisco? I'm hearing this mayor, he couldn't even name 3 drag queens. What's going on there? In the city just going down the tube?
Wait, what? The mayor of San Francisco? I like the mayor of San Francisco somewhat, the black female mayor. And you know why I like her? Because she endorsed the first black female DA for re-election over here in Los Angeles.
The mayoral debates that are going on, and apparently was caught unable to name 3 drag queens. The city's going to hell in a handbasket, but
why did she have
who
tried to challenge her to name 3 drag queens?
One of the other contestants, I'm not sure the name of her. She was one of the black women that's running.
London Breed is the black female incumbent, and so there's another black woman who's running against her.
Right.
I don't really like London Breed.
Name their LGBTQ advisors and stuff like that.
Oh, so it was like a challenge. Oh, you don't really support the gays because you can't even name 3 drag queens.
Apparently, yeah. She had already not been able to name the 3 drag queens, and then this was just a further challenge to kind of, and now give me your 3 advisors for the LGBTQ.
I don't know if you catch the Jesse Lee Peterson show, but on his show today, in the first hour, and then again at the beginning of the 3rd hour, I think it might have been, he talked about the state of emergency that America is in, because we're allowing women to take charge of these positions of so-called power, and it's taking things down into insanity. And that's an example that you just named.
Yeah, and it's spread. It's not even. I live in a very probably the most conservative district in the state of Texas. And we have a woman mayor, HADEN. I think she ran until she wanted not to run anymore, and now we have a man that's in there trying to fix the disaster that's left behind. But
yeah, dang,
it's just that's global. That's everywhere. Everywhere you look, they're taking over those positions.
That's so true. I remember reading a recent buymeacoffee.com/The Hake Report from Based America First about the all the different female governesses And that's even across the South, the beautiful South. They have them running the show, and it's terrible. Well, Nikki Haley, Kay Ivey, and so many others. It's ridiculous.
It's not a good situation we're finding ourselves in.
Yeah. Even conservatives, like you pointed out, even so-called Christians.
Right, they're still there. I don't know. Maybe it's they are finding that they're more electable because they're like softer. Maybe people see it as like I don't know.
I don't know what all the different.
I mean, there's some ugly women that are getting elected. It's not like just these dimes that are
right.
Getting
and men aren't supposed
to.
Yeah,
I like to look at her. I can hear her talk some nonsense on the television.
Men aren't supposed to fall for that. It's only women are supposed to fall for like handsome men.
I could understand. I could somewhat understand if that was the case.
Right.
They're picking up some like
60,
70-year-old like 300-pounders that are like, what do you do? Why?
Yeah. No, I think it's been a long time coming. It's men are kind of upside down now. It's a mess.
Like some things are like turning around, but I don't know that I see any progress really in that regard.
Yeah.
Like some things I see going
good point
in somewhat a different direction, but in that one I don't know that it's turning the turn anytime soon.
I think you're right, and I think that's why JLP is saying this is like a basic root issue. This is the basic order of God. God over men, men over women, not women over society. It's a mess.
And then, like, I watch a lot of, you know who Andrew Wilson, I'm sure, like, does a lot of like whatever podcast.
He's hosted.
You were on his show, actually.
Yeah, the Crucible guy.
Crucible.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I hear him talk. He's amazing. Like I like how he kind of debates his topics. Like they're very like on site.
Yeah.
With what's going on with the problem, the downfall.
Right.
And nobody really has much answers for the problems. It's just like we just know they're there.
True.
Or like who's going to fix it? Like it basically all breaks down to like nobody is.
Yeah.
We're just going to keep on going down the tube further and further. Do we as a country have to hit rock bottom? Is it like that kind of thing with like addicts, you know, where they have to get to that point where
I don't see
they realize?
I have a feeling that we are like, and I don't know much of history, but I have a feeling we're kind of like the Roman Empire end days. We have all this diversity, no real values, no real men, this preoccupation with LGBT, and not just LGBT, but sex in general, and perversion, and entertainment. And so we're just kind of a shell, a house of cards just ripe for being sort of knocked down. And so I don't think that the country is really going to come back. Only like individuals will snap out of it and wake up. You know what I mean? Like that's all you can really, you should fight for what's right, or not fight for what's right, but just push for what's right or say what's right. But other than that, don't have any illusions that, we're going to get the country back. That's an illusion. That's a delusion. I personally think.
I almost like, I heard a guy debate the other day something about like a conservative being someone that maintains the status quo, something that just kind of keeps it. And if they were using someone like Joe Biden, they were trying to like, he's a conservative. Like, he's just kind of maintained with the thing, you know, and like just kind of blanketing that topic, just kind of like, I don't know, maybe devalue the phrase, maybe to be like, to sell people on an idea that maybe anyone can be a conservative. Oh, George Bush, he was, what did he do that was so conservative? Spent,
right.
Trillions of dollars.
Call himself compassionate.
Right.
Which is to say liberal.
Tons of illegals.
Yeah. What a mess. Man, it's good hearing from you again, man.
Yeah, good to hear from you. I'll email you my
sounds
my
good
name so you can get me fixed up.
All right. Bobby in Texas. Take care.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good one.
You too. Bye. I got some super chats to read, everybody. That handyman gave a generous Rumble rant saying there's a guy on Insta that bets on the WNBA to make under a certain amount of baskets and he makes $5,000. It's pretty crazy. You bet for them to miss and you get paid. Interesting. There's always a way to make some money. But you know what they say about money? Easy come, easy go. I remember JLP telling a story where he used to get into car accidents. Like, it wasn't his fault. He would not be at fault. But he would sue or get money. And then he's like, after a while, he's like, I don't want to get into any more car accidents. And so he stopped getting into car accidents. Kind of interesting, huh? Not that he was one of those Armenians who commits fraud or anything like that, but his spirit no longer attracted car accidents because he would just blow the money anyway. This was long ago, I think. I may be probably butchering the story anyway. Evil is still real, says basic order of the world. Smart people over average IQ people. Not always. I don't know if that's true. But anyway, the basic order of the world. Smart people over average IQ people. Average IQs over Hake. Hake over the chat tards. Interesting. Thank you. Thank you, evil is still real. Yeah, see, the average IQs are over Hake. Even though Hake has above average IQ, they still dominate Hake. They're still over me. How does that happen? What a mess. Thank you, evil is still real. Animus says, oh, I already read that one from Animus about the PDFs. Shout out to the PDFs. Over on buymeacoffee.com/The Hake Report. Not a Victim says, Putin is de-escalating conflict right now. De-escalating conflict right now. Did he do a good job handling these recent conflict? I haven't really been paying attention to what type of job Putin was doing. I personally think he may have been wrong in going about this Russia versus Ukraine war. He may have been wrong. Because look at how long it's been going. And look at how many people have died. A good war, if there is such a thing, and there may be, you know, God had the children of Israel going to war, waging war. King David got in trouble not going to war. He was a king, but he didn't go to war. Instead of going to war, he was looking at Bathsheba on the roof. That's not good. So he should have been going to war. I don't know. And I don't want to defer to Kevin Howe either, because Kevin Howe he's a little overboard with this anti-Putin stuff. But I don't want to be pro-Putin either. Good for him, de-escalating, I guess. And, you know, based Bibi Netanyahu, I like him. I don't know. I can't really judge because I'm not really paying attention. And I don't know war. Who am I to judge how these guys are waging their wars? I know that it's not right that that we're supporting Ukraine. I heard that Ukraine was going to have a peace deal with Russia, and like Boris Johnson went in and undermined that. Globo homo, evil. Terry bought a coffee. Thank you for the experience of being called an Irishman woman. It could only happen here at the Hake Report. That's right, because you are an Irishman. Because man, like stiff man syndrome. Stiff man syndrome. Oh, they want to call it stiff person syndrome. Yeah, but you are man. I feel that human being is a communist buzzword that we've swallowed. We are man. Man, mankind. Men and women are man. So that's what stiff man means. You have stiff man syndrome. Or you're a spokesman. You're a female spokesman. Or a female congressman. Which females probably shouldn't be congressmen. Or even really spokesmen, I think. But anyway, she's an Irishman woman. Thank you, Terry, for the coffee. I'm glad that my clumsy comments warranted a coffee donation. That's cool. So that's why I'm just saying, yeah, Hake is still mad about that. Yeah, It's stiff man syndrome. It's not stiff person syndrome. There's propaganda. I'm a girl. Yes, Terry is a girl, a female Irishman. All right. Just call Hake a word Nazi. Not the Nazi, just a strict type of person. That's all I mean. You defend wife beaters? Asks, sorry, I'm sad, 2014. I only say there's more to this story. You know, there's more to the story. How's my stream going? Press 1 if it's good over on Instagram. You know, there's more to the story with this DV stuff. I started to tell you this will be my last story. I started to watch this show that Sean, our greatest producer, plugged called Boardwalk Empire. And at the first episode, they show this husband just beating his just sweet, innocent, pregnant wife in front of their 2 kids. And the 2 kids start crying when the husband yells at the woman because the woman has this money, this cash that this crook gave to her, this big-time crook gave to her. And she's crying, and he just beats her for no reason. And that's not the real thing. I mean, there's nothing about this woman that would make you want to do anything. But there is an evil spirit inside a fake innocent, weak person that just invites the beating. You know how I mentioned that sometimes some kids are more effeminate. And so I wonder if some of those more effeminate kids are kind of an inviting spirit to the evil people who go to them and do evil things with them. There is a takes two to tango type of situation that happens. And so there's like a dishonesty that's going on with that, with regard to how the media portray men. Terrible stuff going on in the world. I'm going to have to end, guys. I'm going to have to wrap up. I cannot get to any more of the calls. Rick in Hampton, Virginia, and the rest of the callers. Oh, Greenwall gave a diamond saying, please more analysis on your show. R.I.P. Azzmador, rest in peace. Right on, man. I appreciate that. Let's do I'm Troubled in Mind, Hassan. This is a nice Negro spiritual. I'm Troubled in Mind by Spiritual Workshop Paris. Adios, America. Joel Friday TV coming up next. Bye.
When laden with troubles and burdened with grief, to Jesus in secret our glory be. I'm troubled in mind. If Jesus don't have me, I surely will die. In dark death of morning, to Jesus I pray, to help me, and He gave me healing. I'm troubled.
Adios, America.
I'm troubled.
Thank you.